Should soldiers always follow the command of their commander or the king, no matter what? So this is the movie The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and this is the scene from the Battle of the Pelennor Field outside Minas Tirith. We see that the Rohan army has amassed a huge army of riders, of Rohan riders, very skilled fighters, skilled warriors and riders. As you can see, it's a very huge army that they managed to gather for the battle, for this battle, with King Theoden in the front, who then studies the enemy from higher ground before sounding the charge, and then leads the charge towards this huge formation of the enemy. You could say maybe it's, we know that the Rohan army is outnumbered, but they are very skilled. So in this situation, we can see it's maybe 4-1 or 5-1, but they have no fear. And it's just foot soldiers. They are charging against ground troops or the foot soldiers. So we know that this is fiction. We know that this is fantasy. The movie is a fantasy, but absolutely it was inspired by real life experiences from J.R.R. Tolkien, who himself fought in the Great War, which was World War I, and also fought in the brutal battle of the Somme in 1916. It was a trench war. He saw many of his friends die in the war. And then because of fever, he was sent back home in 1916 and never returned to the front until the end of the war. And this is the reason we can watch this movie, because he survived to write the books. So even though it's a fantasy movie, even though it's fiction, we know that battles like this happened many times during the past in history. So the point I'm going to get at, we will see that soon. Here we see Eomer, very fierce, attacking with a spear. And then when these foot soldiers start to run away, they just crush their formations. There is no more formation anymore. They start to retreat. They start to run away. So the Rohan army is victorious at this point, and they manage to drive them away. All of them run away from Minas Tirith. So they stopped attacking the city of Minas Tirith, except a few ones that are already have already entered the city. So even though they are in smaller numbers, they manage to break their formation and make them run away or retreat. And then here Eomer orders his soldiers to drive them to the river away from the city, while the king has another plan. He wants to make safe the city. But then something happens. He sees something in the distance. They all see something coming from the distance. And this is Oliphants. Huge Oliphants in formation, in very tight formation. From the face of the king and Eomer and the others in the Rohan army, we see that it seems that they are seeing that for the first time ever. They have never seen Oliphants before, and they have never studied them. So the point I'm getting to is that They see a wall of elephants in front of them. Sorry, Oliphants. The wall of Oliphants in front of them. So what do they do? In this situation, should they study them first, study the enemy, but everything is happening so fast, and you have to stop the enemy at any cost. But in my opinion, they should have at least spread around away from the Oliphants and maybe started to study them first, observe and study how they are, how they attack before charging against them, or attacking them from the flanks. But what they do is not that. So King Theoden orders his riders to reform the line, as you can see, and sounds the charge and wants to take them head on. So a head on collision with Oliphants that they have never seen before, they have never studied. While they could have gone around them from the flanks. And here is the charge. So in a situation like this, should soldiers obey the command of their commanders, their judgment? Can you trust the judgment of the leader? This is a little bit like the D-Day in Normandy, where American soldiers, they had this coming to invade Europe in the amphibious landing, which we all know caused so much casualty. So I like to compare these two battles with each other. So you charge against an enemy, and without weakening the enemy first, without studying them first, maybe, while they could have attacked them from the flanks and gone around them, but they charge and attack them head on. And as you can see, okay, some of them get through, but it is a slaughter. The Rohan army is completely decimated after this battle. And the Oliphants, the enemy, they have the higher ground, and it's easier for them to attack and to kill the enemy. But then towards the end, they manage to bring down many of the Oliphants when they realize that they have to attack the head and the one that leads the Oliphants. They start to see that very soon. But if they had seen that earlier, they could have avoided so much casualty. And at the end, they are victorious. Here we see Aragon victorious, coming to the aid of his friends with the dead army. And it is thanks to the dead army that they can defeat them completely and save so many lives of their soldiers. As you can see, there is so much casualty lying on the ground. So in a real situation, in a real battle that we know has happened many times in history, should soldiers obey their commanders? They got decimated in this battle. And if they had not charged against the Oliphants like this, many of their lives have been saved. If they had another plan, another strategy, they never observed the enemy. They never sent a scout to study the enemy and to bring some information about how to defeat them. Anyway, so this is again fantasy. But battles like this have actually happened in history. And it's a valid point. You can tell us what you mean, what you think. What is your opinion? Was it a good strategy to charge against the Oliphants or not?